All right, we're working. Great. So thanks, guys. My name is Marco. I work for GTI, as Fran mentioned, and I'm the sales director for PA and Jersey, but there's not much going on there just yet. So my big focus is Pennsylvania. Um, and a little bit about me: I come from a liquor background. I used to sell for a company called Pernod Ricard. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that. But you're probably more familiar with the brands Pernod Ricard owns: Jameson, Absolute, Kahlua, Glenlivet. You know, those are the brands, right? So Pernod or GTI is a little bit like Pernod Ricard in that it is a house of brands, right? So in our brands, we have Dog Walkers, Rhythm, the Field Collection Packs, Bebo, Dr. Solomon. So all these brands we have. So we really like you to promote the brands, not necessarily GTI. So, and you guys, I believe, do that anyway on the menus and when you talk to patients. So we were founded in Chicago by Ben Kovler. Ben is the heir to the Jim Beam fortune. So his great grandfather brought Jim Beam to the world with the family. And the reason why I tell you that is because he's got a lot of money. And the reason why I tell you that is because he really cares about building a legacy brand for his kids. He's not really concerned about making the money because he's got it. So he wants to be the Jim Beam of cannabis. So everything we do, we have quality in mind. You know, we don't cut any corners, and you'll see as we go through this, you know, how we do things you'll see that it's with quality in mind. We don't, you know, we want to put out the best possible product, and it's almost beautifully and efficient the way we do things just to get it to that point. So we're 14 manufacturing facilities. This is a little outdated. I believe we have 2,500 staff. I should update this. Holy cow. But yeah, good stuff, good company. We're pretty big. We're in a few states, not unlike you guys, expanding into Jersey, and I believe I think you got somewhere else recently. But anyway, let's get into it. So we're with Rise, just like Apothecarium and Lear is the same company. We launched in 2018 here. We're in Danville, Pennsylvania, locally, right? So let's start with the grow because this is where everything starts. People always ask if we're organic. We are, but it's a federal program, and they'll never stamp us because we're all technically felons. So, you know, what are you going to do? But we are our nutrients are carbon-based. There's no, you know, we've luckily never had to use any pesticides or anything. We have a very healthy grow. So we've been very fortunate with a good team. So that's that. Nursery, this is where it all begins, right? We have the moms. We use clones. Very rarely do we grow from seed, but we do. We have, you know, we have a huge library of genetics that, you know, we haven't even introduced yet because, you know, the market's a certain way right now. People get used to some strains, and you kind of clean out your bottom strains and you keep growing and expanding. So we'll be putting out some new strains soon. But it starts here in the mother room, right? This is just a tiny piece of it, but these big mothers here is where we clip a little piece off. And, you know, the little guys underneath are replacing those mothers. So we replace our mothers every 3 months or so because they get tired and they don't produce strong plants. So 3 months, they're out and they get replaced by these little guys. So we snip them, we throw them in these little trays over here, and we lift them up and see if we see some white roots in there. Once we see the white roots, it's about 2 weeks, they're ready for veg, right? So in veg, we use LED lights, right? And we double stack that. Lots of wind, lots of air movement in this room because we want to create a big, strong, healthy plant. So when it moves around, it digs into the ground. It has a nice root system, which delivers nutrients and water, but it also creates a nice sturdy stem. And the reason is we're kind of growing a reverse tree, like in nature, kind of grows nice and big with a big, like more heavy on top. We're kind of growing it like this, upside down, real skinny and out. So, you know, these things will topple over in nature if they were to grow this way, but that's how we do it. And that stem really helps give it the nutrients it needs and gives it some strength. So we sit in veg for about 8 weeks. Now I say that, but every strain you walk around and with the grower and he's like, that one's ready, that one's not. You know, some of these things take 12 weeks. Brownie Scout, geez, takes 12 weeks in veg, just forever. She takes her time, this plant. Brownie's like, woo. But most of them take about 8 weeks. So it depends on when it's ready, right? So then we prune in veg, right? That's where we start snipping. The reason for that is you don't want one big fat quarter-pound cola, although that's pretty sexy. We want to be able to fit it in a jar to get it out to you, right? So nothing looks worse than a bud that you just hack in half to get it to fit into a jar. So we try to grow them intentionally smaller, but you get bigger yields that way. So if you snip, you get 3 identical colas. So the picture just kind of thought it was cool. You get like 3 genetic identical buds if you snip from that point. So we try to get about 8 colas-ish per plant. Depends. Like our island lime haze, doesn't matter what you do, just grows these baseball bats. It's crazy. So hey, we missed one, and this is what happens. So as you can see, like, to cut this in half just doesn't work. It won't look right. So, we missed one. What are you gonna do? So once it's done, once it's done in veg for 8 to 12 weeks ish, we put it in flower room for 8 to 10 weeks. Now we don't rush this. Again, we don't want to rush this process. We know what strains take longer and which ones don't, but generally they're around 8 weeks. Now, if you look at this again, you got black cherry soda. I misspelled it, and it's an iPhone, and I couldn't change it. That's why it says blackberry. But this is our old black cherry soda. 6 weeks. You see the cola. The pistils are orange. It's fat. It's dense. It looks pretty good. It's probably pretty sticky. Now to the right, you see Brownie Scout. White hairs, right? White hairs are indication it's not really mature yet. That's one way to tell visually. You can kind of just see that it's not ready. Both are the same age, by the way. So what you can do, there's a couple ways to test it. You can test CBG, which is a precursor to the cannabinoids THCA and CBN. So you can test for that. So if you see a lot of CBG in a product, it could have gone a little bit longer, or they snipped it early, or they just wanted it in there. Either way, it's fine. But that's one way to tell. We don't really need to do that. We know visually pretty much, and we get pretty close. So now, how long are we? We're 2 weeks in the nursery. Excuse me. We're 2 months in veg-ish, and then 2 months in flower. So we're 4.5 months already into this process, right? So now plant sleep. I thought this was pretty cool. This blew my mind when I first saw this. We use green lights because, plants can't see green light apparently because they're green themselves. So you got to make sure they don't wake up, and see how they're kind of limp and they're just sitting there. They're sleeping. I guess it's important to the plant cycle, but I thought that was kind of fun. But anyway, dry cure. So once we grew the perfect plant, we take it to the dry and cure room. Now this is really important to us. You can't rush this. You got to do it right, or you're going to get straw, hay flavors. You're just going to get chlorophyll in there. Or you'll blow out your terps. It won't be terpy. It'll just be dry. So basically what we do is we dry in a very cold environment, and people are wearing hoodies in there and jackets and hats. But we do 1 strain per room. We clean the whole room. We sanitize. We lay plastic down. It's uber clean. Because once you hack the plant down, it lost its natural defenses, and this is where microbials can potentially come in play. So luckily we haven't had that either. So, really careful with this process. So slow and low, super cold. It can take a long time. We take moisture readings and we get it to where we need it to be, right? So it sits in there for a while. It gets the proper, and the reason why we go cold is because terpenes are very volatile, right? So like in nature, you go through a walk in a pine forest. It's a hot, sunny day. Sun's beating down on the trees. You smell pine, right? That's pinene. You're smelling the terpenes that's blowing off out of this tree. So we don't want that to happen, so we keep it cold in there. Terpenes are all different temperatures where they become volatile, so this will control that a little bit. And then you go slow and low. You go long because you want to give the chlorophyll a chance to evaporate naturally. If you don't, that's where you get that hay flavor, that straw, that burnt grass kind of flavor. That also translates into oil. So if I blast the stuff and I didn't cure it right, it's going to taste like shit when I blast it, right? Shit in, shit out. That's kind of how it works. So that's where it sits for a month, and then it goes into these giant turkey bags, and we cure it. So this is dry and upside down. Then we cure it in a big bag, and we toss them and burp it. And that kind of like making soup. It's like better the next day. So we cure it for a while in there, and then once it hits, it takes it down even more to the moisture content we want, and then we release it. So it takes forever. I'm a sales guy. I'm like, come on, right now. But can't rush it, So now we're like a month and a half with this stuff. It's about a month. I think we dialed it in because I was getting a little crazy with them. Okay, so then we hand trim this craziness. Can you believe that? Every single bud, man. So if you look before and after, these are my fingers. This is back in the day when I had to help. Luckily, we got a pretty big team now, but we just cut all the sugar leaves off, little fan leaves, crow's feet, whatever you want to call it. we snip them because they're harsh. You know, you don't want that. That's Carrie, my rep in the West. Here we are trimming. It's a sticky job. Every single bud gets hand trimmed. And then there's a guy that walks around, Steven, and he looks at him, looks at your work and goes, nope, yep. You know, I mean, it's like crazy. It's fun. Everybody's listening to like reggae and having a good time in there. Okay. So then we put it through this crazy sorter. Now this thing, if you look, you put a bud in the top, a little chamber on the left picture. Bud, right? There's a person on the left and a person on the right that stands up there. One guy has a tray of bigger buds. One's got a tray of smaller buds. And then you just throw them in. When the light turns green, you throw it in. A little air pocket settles it and weighs it. And then from there, once it gets, what's our spec? I forget. Oops. Like 5 to 6 buds maybe, tops, per jar that weighs like 3.6. Boom, they drop into that hopper on the right. And someone's sitting there with a cup to collect it. Can you believe that's what we do? It's such a manual process, man. But that's what we do. And this is like a $40,000 scale. So when someone comes in complaining about a light bag, it's like, well, are you sure? Did you calibrate it? Did your $5 scale on Amazon? Did it treat you right? So anyway, this is kind of it. This is kind of the process in action. I wonder if it's going to work. Here we go. Check it out. Here's craziness. Anyway, isn't that insane? And then from there, it's not even over. Like then the jar gets handed to someone who screws it on, hands it to someone who puts a sticker on it, hands it to someone else, puts it in a box, hands it to someone else who puts the other sticker on. It's crazy, but that's what we do. It's all by hand. All right, so CO2 lab. Any questions on grow before I move on? Give it a sec. Wow, nice. Okay, cool. Silence is golden, I guess, right? You guys got it all? There'll be a test later. All right, so the lab, right? So our oil is CO2 oil, right? That's what we make for the carts and the pens. And it's a process. Another labor love. You know, this is the inefficient way to do it. There's a lot faster ways. We can just blast it through some BHO and be done. But CO2 is the effects and the flavor that we want in our rhythm oil. So we're going with it. Plus, this machine's like $500,000 versus a BHO setup. You can get away with like 200 grand. So it's more expensive, takes forever, takes 24 hours to do a run for us. It's unbelievable how slow it is. With BHO is like 2 hours. So again, it's costs more to do it this way, but we feel it's premium and we want to keep rolling with it. So anyway, you fill this one big, there's 2 canisters. You can do 2, but we don't. I don't even know if you can do 2. By the way, I don't know why there's 2 canisters. That's too technical for me. But anyway, I know the nuts and bolts. So you take the canister, you fill it up with some ground flour, trim, popcorn, you know, whatever's left over that has value, right? No leaves go in there, no stems, because there's no value to it. There's no trichromes, right? So you throw it in there, you turn it into shake and you put it in this one column. You pack about 20 pounds in there. And then we calibrate the CO2 for a subcritical temperature and pressure. What that means is, I'm going to get real nerdy, subcritical takes the CO2 between a gas and a liquid state. It kind of floats in this in-between state, which happens to be the best state for pulling terpenes. So we do a first run in the subcritical, colder, higher pressure, and it runs through there and it only picks up the delicate terpenes. It goes through there. And then once the CO2 is like the slushy, gassy stuff, it blasts through the stuff. It acts as a solvent. It pulls the terpenes, and then it goes into this container. You see the one with the chamber at the bottom? Can you see my pointer if I go over here? I don't know if you can see that. That chamber there, okay, is where the CO2 with all this oil is carrying it. It hits this chamber that's a little warmer, okay? So now the CO2 just turns back into a gas and we collect it. It goes this way and the oil just drips down and we collect it. That's the terpene oil. That's the first run. It takes about 3 hours, 4 hours for 20 pounds. And that's all you get. Look at that sucker. Stinky, super tasty, but very potent, very concentrated. That's sour joker. So you get like that much worth. I don't know. That's tiny. I don't know, like this much, whatever that is, a couple ounces. Anyway, take that cannabis out of the canister, Now we put it on sheet trays, into the oven we go. Now we decarb it. Now, if you guys, I don't know what you know about cannabis, I'm just going to tell you, decarb is the process of removing that that acid molecule off the end of the THCA. It's taking that A molecule and it's cutting it off. Now the cannabis, now it's THC. Now it can fit in your receptor, unlock the psychoactivity, right? Like you can eat a pile of cannabis, it's not going to do anything to you. But if you decarb it, then eat it, now you're in trouble, right? So we're decarbing it. A, to unlock the psychoactive effects. Vaping in batteries, 510s, doesn't really give it the temperature it needs to convert it all. It's not hot enough. Like a lighter is like, bang, 1800 degrees, whatever. Decarboxylate it, gets it going. But it also prevents it from crystallizing. THCA is a crystal, right? So kind of like shatter, if you guys have any experience with it. You know, it's clear. It's like a piece of glass. And then you just let it sit you forget about it, and it turns into sugar, crystallizes, right? So that's what happens here. This will crystallize in your cart. So that's not cool, right? That'll gum it up. You can't pull that. It's over. So you have to decarboxylate it to prevent that, to have a smooth, silky oil. So we do that, and we pull the terps off, so it's no problem there. And then we put it back in the machine. And now we turn it up a little bit. We turn the pressure and the temperature to a certain point. Now we're blasting everything. I mean, fats, waxes, cannabinoids, right? I mean, we strip it. I think we get 99% of the value out of it, which is pretty sweet. 99.9 something. Anyway, so same process. It goes in there, and then we get this like end result, like this crude. What we do with that crude, it's got fat, it's got waxes. You know, you want to get rid of that because fats and waxes, you know, it'll gum up your cart. And why would you want to vape wax and fats? That's tough to say. So anyway, ethanol separation. That's what we do. It's how we get rid of the fats and waxes. Ethanol is pretty much vodka. You can drink it. It's just that it's another name for the alcohol that's in beer. You know, not methanol. Methyl alcohol is the poisonous stuff. This is ethyl. So we, you know, so far everything in this process is edible and, you know, ingestible. So you take ethanol, you add it to the crude oil with the fats and wax. It beats it up. It kind of thins it out. And you spin it. It stirs constantly, this oil. And it kind of separates into this fats, waxes, chlorophyll. They all separate out. So any leftover chlorophyll, it all floats to the top from this alcohol, from the ethanol, beating it up and agitating it, right? And then from there, we put it in the deep freeze, like a really super cold freezer with like literally a coffee filter. We pour it in there, and this vacuum sucks it through this coffee filter. And then the top is what's the top layer here, just like this pinkish, like goop. It's like fats and wax. So it'd be fun to make soap out of it one day. From there, now we got this beautiful oil, but it's got alcohol in it. So now we got to get rid of that. So what you see here, it's a shitty picture. I'll get a better one day. But it's basically a rotovap. This thing, it's a still, like you make booze, but it's under a lot of pressure. There's no atmosphere. It's a vacuum, in other words. And in a vacuum, you can distill at room temperature, basically. So you're not, you know, damaging the oil at all. So you're not converting THC to anything else. You're still maintaining that temperature, but now just the ethanol. If you see the white bulb there, that's all the ethanol getting collected, and we reuse it. So now you have this beautiful oil left, and then we marry it with the terpenes at whatever percentage we decide, right? Pretty much as we can put in there without it leaking. That's basically the formula, because terps are very thin, and they'll get your carts leaking. Any questions on CO2? Our carts, pens, packs, they all go through this. Packs, by the way, a little secret, we put more terps in there, like 13.5% more terps go into packs because it can take more. It won't leak. Carts leak, so we don't put as much terps in there. But anyway, I'll leave it there for a second. Anybody? All right, cool. So we also make live resin. Oh, Taylor, I saw you go off mute. What's up?
I knew it.
Ha, calling you out. You have a question?
No, it just seemed like there was more like something in PAX.
Oh yeah. Well, PAX also does something crazy with the new PAX Pros. I don't know how they do it. They fractionate, they call it, the vape. So it's smaller. The molecules are smaller, so they get into more crevices. I don't know how to explain it. But apparently less is more. So your pods actually last longer because you're not using as much vape to get you where you need to go versus just pulling off a 510 like you're ripping a bong. You know, you can do, you know, so you don't really see a lot of vapor when you work with packs, but it's there and it's effective. It's really interesting. Cool.
For sure.
All right, live resin. We also make that, right? So basically, we go into the rooms on harvest day, and the lab team goes in first, based on what we decide to make. We hack down, I don't know, however many plants. We throw them right on dry ice immediately, right? Because once you kill a plant, everything starts breaking down. So we want to preserve, you know, the freshness of this plant, preserve the terpenes. You know, we want to prevent any kind of decay from happening, oxygenation, that kind of thing. Throw it on dry ice. We put it in a deep freeze, a million degrees below zero. It's very cold. And then we pack the buds in these socks, right? And then we blast it through this machine right here, kind of like similar to the CO2 process, although this is using hydrocarbon or butane propane, right? Now this solvent is different, where we can pull everything out of it. If you dial in the temperatures and the pressures, we can just pull the what we need and leave the fats and waxes behind, right? So time, pressure, temperature, all that stuff is dialed into a certain point. What we want to get is only THC and terpenes. That's why ours is called a live resin, you know, because most of the time it's like a sugar. But if you look at our profiles, it's mostly THCA, maybe a little THC because that naturally occurs, that happens, and then terpenes. There's very, very little room for anything else, and that little anything else could be maybe some fats or whatever. But we don't. We try to just pull the goodies out of there. Now, if we were to calibrate this differently and pull everything, we could pull some wax. Okay, and that's kind of like, we kind of feel like, why would you want to vape wax? You know, if you don't need to. But you know, some people like it. Some people like to roll it up and stuff. But it's just filler, kind of the way we feel. So we don't do it. May do it eventually. Who knows? You never know in this business. But so that's their live resin process, right? So then once it's collected, it takes a few hours, maybe 4 hours to do a run. This is the money shot. People love this. This is what happens. You pour off this beautiful. It looks a little darker. It lightens up a ton, as you guys know. It usually has this nice like golden amber color to it. So this will lighten up. You see it bubbling. That's the gas. It's degassing. So we'll let it degas for a few days, and then we put it in like this pressure thing. It's like a low temp oven that's pressurized, and then it pulls the rest of the BHO and out of the product. So that's it. Then we let it sit. From there, it just sits, and it'll crystallize. The bottom layer will form a nice layer of diamonds and a little bit of sugar. And then the top layer is all terps. So you can literally like pour off the terps if you want. You know what's crazy about this process is here we do this by hand. It's literally the worst job ever. You deal with the sticky stuff. You have a couple of dental tools, and we try to get a little bit of sauce, a little bit of diamond, a little bit of sugar in each batch. Everybody's kind of has a little bit of everything, and it's by hand. It's a lot. So, but that's it. That's the live resin process. Very simple. And then we have 4 categories. I'm sure you guys are aware: relax, balance, energize, heal, indica, hybrid, energize, sativa. So I'm going to show you this packaging, and then we're rebranding. Like literally next week, everything's going to look different. This is our new logo. So everything is going to look like this, black and cool. Like it's going to be pretty sweet. But this is the old packaging, just so you know that we have it. You know, we're changing everything. Everything's going to look different. So anyway, we do offer 300 milligram disposables, 500 milligram carts, 1 gram carts is what we have. Liquid flower. So again, we try to capture the effects and the flavor from smoking a really good cured bud. So that's where we kind of dubbed it liquid flower. So through our CO2 process, the careful process that we make this oil in, we feel that we're there. We get that smoking flower effect and taste. Okay, any questions on rhythm? I'm gonna blow through Dr. Solomon's here because I want to leave some time for questions at the end. Okay, so this is Dr. Solomon's line. We only have this one right now in PA, but you guys are getting tinctures next week, so this is an old slide, but that's okay. We'll talk about that in a minute. So let's talk about our lotion. This is currently what the packaging looks like. I'll throw up another couple slides to show you what the new stuff's going to look like. So we offer two. We have a THC-rich lotion and a 1-to-1 lotion. They're both 2 ounces, 200 milligrams of THC in the THC-rich. The 1-to-1 for $60 has 200 milligrams of THC and 200 milligrams of CBD, so a total of 400 milligrams of cannabinoids. How do we talk about it to customers and patients? Well, you can't say this will cure cancer because we're not allowed. We're not allowed to say this will cure your eczema, this will cure your acne. We've heard anecdotally, this is what happens, and that's how we talk about it. But anyway, that was more for internal. Transdermal. It's the only transdermal product in the market right now. So Cresco used to put out a patch that kind of went away. We're the only transdermal product, truly. So really, what is transdermal? Transdermal will penetrate all the layers of skin, and it gets in your bloodstream. And why is it important? Because once it penetrates the skin, a lot of it sits there. That medicine sits there. So if you have like, any kind of skin issues, dermatitis, eczema, acne, things like that, and you want to treat it with cannabis, transdermal is a really good product to use because it'll sit in the medicine will sit there versus topical that kind of like, it'll rub off, or you wash your hands, it's basically gone. So it'll stay there. You will fail a drug test if you use enough of it. So that's a concern some people have, but you can get high off it if you put enough on. So, or systemic relief, whatever you want to say, but that it does get into the bloodstream for sure. So just, patients should know that, if they're going to put a lot on and they got somewhere to go, something to do, they may feel the systemic relief from that, right? So it's made in PA. This is literally all our stuff. The transdermal carriers, we put 3 in there just to make sure it works. And then we add our CO2 oil to it. And that's it. And then we make a base right here, the base lotion. Then we marry everything together. And then we fill these puppies by hand. Can you believe it? How do we use Dr. Solomon's? Well, look, out of the shower is the best time because your skin's clean, right? You put it on your feet, put a sock over it. That helps with absorption. Heat pad, you can stimulate the skin, will help get it in there faster. Electronic stimulation, whatever that is. I think it's some vibrating therapy. Alcohol pads, though, if you're a dirty bird, you don't shower, at least clean up some alcohol to get in, because it's got to fight through your oil and grease and dirt before it gets into the skin. It makes sense. Put on your veiny parts if you want to, if you want it to hit hard. Onset time depends. 45 minutes, 20 minutes. Some people depends on you. Think about it like an edible. Each pump is a 2 milligram dose, so you can kind of think about it like that. 4 milligram dose on the other on the CBD THC 1-to-1. So it's dosable. You can put as much or as little as you want. You can have consistent doses. That's really important to some people. Pain management. This is also people use this for joint pain and things like that. We've seen a lot of people get relief. So this is some people in Maryland that when we first rolled it out like a few years ago came to us with eczema. This woman here couldn't get rid. She just had this eczema. I mean, this is not a great picture, but it cleared up. So it went. She's like, she went to her dermatologist. She's saying, wow. The dermatologist told her, wow, this medicine is really working. She's like, your hands and ears and feet, everything looks great. And she told her she's been using this 1-to-1 cream. And the doctor was pretty shocked to hear that. Actually, it's psoriasis is what I'm reading here. Sorry about that, not eczema, but yeah. So it cleared up, and she hasn't had it for years. So this is a guy with skin cancer. I mean, he was, it was all over his hands. This guy now comes to all of our events down in Maryland and speaks to the crowd because he's just such a big fan. But yeah. We use really quality ingredients too. Olive oil instead of petroleum jelly. Actually, I think it's organic olive oil, but anything that we can get that's natural. The fragrance is limonene, right? So we try to really keep it really natural. Hey, look at you guys are in there. So here's the competitive set: some salves and some balms. I think there's a couple new ones. Terrapin put out something, so this is who we compete with in the market. Again, we're transdermal. These are topicals. 2 very different applications, different uses. I don't know. We're rebranding, so I got some new stuff coming to you. You'll get a new kit with all kinds of marketing stuff. I'm putting them together this Thursday, so I'll send them out next week. But anyway, there's some collateral there. Okay, killer facts 3. If you forget everything I said about Dr. Solomon's, it's transdermal, it's pump action, and it's double the cannabinoids. Cool? Now, let me throw someone else up here real quick. I don't know how to do it, but let's see if I do this. 1 second, guys. Let me try to share this screen. One more thing, I want to talk about the drops. Okay. Like I'm flying a spaceship. I got 3 screens over here. Okay. Dr. Solomon's is getting a new look. This is going to be the new look of Dr. Solomon's, right? So I'll just blow through this quick because I got, what, 20 minutes. Here we go. This is the founder, Dr. Solomon. She's actually a real person. But we don't have much time to get through that, so I'm going to blow through it. Drops. This is what you guys are getting this week, actually. You guys are the first to get this in the market. So Dr. Solomon's, we're starting with 2. We're starting with Dose. Dose is a CBN THC 1-to-1, 50 milligrams, 50 milligrams. What's that? Yeah, is there a question? Nope. Cool. Rescue is the other one, 400 milligrams of just THC. So it's basically, it's a 15 ml, so it's not a lot of liquid. It's not a 30 ml tincture, it's a 15 ml. So one for sleep. Dose has also been, CBN's also been really great for pain. It acts like capsaicin, opens up your vasodilator, that kind of thing. So it's a really nice product. So this is the look. $45 and $55. So 45 for the Dose, 55 for the THC rich version, right? So, you know, coconut oil, it burns as energy. It doesn't burn as, it's not like, you know, for anybody watching the way, MCT is actually pretty good stuff. Let's see, 30, 60-minute onset time, depends how you use it. You put it under your tongue sublingually, it's faster, won't last as longer. You eat it, takes longer, lasts longer, that kind of thing. So it depends how you use it. Here's kind of the idea here. One dose droppers, 13 milligrams of THC. I'm sorry, the Rescue. The dose is 1.7 and 1.7. A little bit goes a long way with CBN. So it's not like THC. You know, again, you're looking for relief from sleep. It keeps you asleep and it'll get you to sleep. So it has both those effects. We make this in-house. And let me tell you, what a process. Holy cow. Okay, moving on. This is the lotion. This is the lotion's new look I wanted to show you. So these will start coming out in a few weeks. You'll start seeing this look here. So I just want to give you a sneak peek. Okay. I think I just made it in time. I have, let's see, what time do we have? How much time do we have together here? Okay, cool. Enough time for questions. Anyone have any questions?
I do.
Cool.
So is this Dr. Solomon's thing like top secret, or can I tell patients about this when they ask about?
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you can tell anyone.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely tell people. So, you know, we know you're talking about the drops, right?
Well, yeah, the drops and also the new. I mean, just the drops. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. You'll see the new look. So we're phased. We don't want to fill the landfill with plastic bottles, so we're still using our old bottles. We're slapping a new label on it, and then once those bottles are gone, we're going to use these new little short squad bottles. So we're kind of phasing the rebrand in, so we don't waste all this product. So you'll start seeing, we're putting them in bags now too. That's why we changed to 30 packs instead of 36, because we can't fit 36. These bags are kind of like the Mylar bags. So you'll see the rebrand on that. So you'll see that already. I don't know if you guys, I don't think you guys ordered any lotions this week, but you might have the old stuff now, but on the next run, you'll have the new look. But the Dose drops and the Rescue drops for sure. Yeah, those are coming at you now.
Yay, awesome. Thank you.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited too.
I hype this stuff. I hype this stuff up, so I'm excited.
Yeah, Taylor, you should try that 1-to-1 for your hands. If it
For
was
sure.
that, if it was that miracle working for that one lady, I'm sure it'd be perfect for you.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. I use it, you know.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Good,
Marco, I had a question about the concentrate consistencies in particular. I know, I guess it's not really labeled as far as consistencies for the concentrates. Is it all, can we all pretty much consider it's going to be that sugar kind of batter consistency always?
Yeah. Except for Star Tribe. Look out for that one, because
Okay.
Star Tribe depends. So I say that, but also, you know, it depends on what's in it. Like the Star Tribe, last batch we made came in at 17% terps.
Wow.
And people complained about it. They're like,
Wow.
it's too much. So a lot, you know, we've had like 3 people send it back because they had too many terps. So kind of look at that, you know, that, and terps will make it a little saucier. So it's not going to be a sugar. It'll be more of like a sugary sauce, I guess. But for the most part, it is sugary, right? But yeah, that Star Tribe and sometimes Pyromancy hits like 6% myrcene in it and a total of like 12% terps. I think this last batch of Star Tribe hit 12%. So yeah, it's high, and people they don't know, so they'll do it, and they're like, oh, tastes like dirt. I'm like, yeah, it's supposed to. It's got 8% myrcene in it. So there's a lot of different consistency that it can be. You know, CB, if there's got it high CBD is very doesn't crystallize as well, so it'll be saucier, thinner. But for the most part, yep, sugar, man. That's what I would say.
But as far as the labeling, it's just going to be live resin on your part, really. Okay.
Yeah, because we whatever the plant does, it does. So we don't really want to put a fixed label on there and say, okay, sugar, when maybe it comes out as a sauce next time. So we just kind of decided to go with live resin.
Sure, understood. Thank you.
We are messing with some cured crumble though, which is kind of wild. It looks awesome. So we're gonna kind of pulse that out a little bit. I'm gonna pilot it at Rise just to see if like people like it and if it's worth the price. But then if it's we're gonna go with it once in a while. But if it if the price is right and everything works out, we're gonna.
What would the price point be?
Well, I'm thinking about $70 retail. Our live resin's 80. So this is a cured crumble. So I figure maybe charging 70 for it. So kind of bridging that gap between like Farm RX price is pretty high. Some Cresco ones get pretty high prime. Then us, and then maybe we get a $70 tier, and then you got the lower tiers. But I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Cool. Thank you for that.
Sure.
Marco, I have a question.
Sure.
It's a nerdy question. The transdermal enhancers that you use, is one of those pluronic lecithin organogel?
I do not know. I wonder if I have a bottle here somewhere. It's on the label. If you're in the store, you can kind of sneaky peel back the label.
All right. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, I actually have no idea. I can look that up for you. Tell me that again. I'll send Fremar a note. What is it again?
Pluronic.
Oh my goodness. Uh-huh.
Lecithin.
Uh-huh.
Organogel. It might be in a different base. Might not be organogel, but I'm just wondering.
Okay, I'll check it out. Yeah, I wonder if I have the ingredients somewhere. I thought they were up in the slide. Let's see. Is that no? None of that's in there. Yeah.
You had mentioned there were 3 transfer enhancers. So I was just curious if we knew what they were.
Yeah, I don't.
And Marco can probably get us those 3 ingredients, because I think you got it to me once before, but I just never wrote it down. So that was one question I was going to ask you. So that can be maybe a takeaway for you to get us the 3 ingredients, because then I know like a 4th is kind of, I think, limonene has shown to help cross the blood-brain barrier into a systemic type of absorption. So I think because you have like 9% limonene, I think that's probably helping the other 3 ingredients get that medication into the bloodstream as well.
Yeah, we have some pretty awesome doctors and chemists working on the team that, figure this stuff out. And you're right, there's everything's, purposefully in here. There's no fillers. This isn't a lotion, so it's not like, my hand's going to be soft. So that's not really the purpose. It's really targeted medicine. So everything in it there's a reason it's in there, and the best quality ingredients we can source is what we use. So yeah, good question.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Question.
Well, Marco, I just had a second part to mine, if you don't mind.
Yeah, Sure.
Okay, so I just have a lot of experience with it's abbreviated PLO, the pluronic thing stuff. So that one doesn't work quite as well as one called Lipoderm. So it like holds more, the more you process it, it doesn't break down as much.
Lipoderm, that's the other transdermal carrier?
I think that might be like a branded form of, I think it might be from PCCA, the Compounding Centers of America.
Mm.
I can find out more about that for you.
Totally. Yeah. Actually, one of our R&D guys is a compound pharmacist. I wonder if he'll know all this stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's a nerdy world. Thanks.
Totally. Cannabis is such a nerdy thing. I think it's great. I come from the wine business, and that got pretty nerdy. This is like next level nerdy. Someone else had a question, I think.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For the tinctures, you know how like the carts have like for the patients has like sleepy, relax like on there. Will the boxes have that on there as well, or
Oh, like the effects?
yeah, the facts on there?
I don't know. I haven't even seen the box, to be honest, yet up close. I know that the names of them here. You know what? Let's see here.
That's pretty helpful for some of our older. We have a lot of
Yeah, no, for
patients
sure.
that rely on that stuff.
I know Doze is kind of a giveaway, right? Doze, because it's sleepy. Doze
Right?
up.
Yeah.
Play on that. Rescue, that's really, yeah, help. So it does have a little bit on here. Helps put pain on pause, easy to dose, non-habit form. I believe they do have something on the side. Unwind, restore. Yeah, I'll have to dig into that. What it actually says. I don't know what.
Yeah,
what we
I really
decided.
like the branding. So
Yeah, cool.
Even though the old stuff was nice. So
yeah, thanks. I don't know that it'll have the effects on there. I think it'll speak to it. There's a lot more information we put on this packaging than the old Dr. Solomon, so I'm sure there's something on there. Oh yeah, right there. Say it right there underneath. Helps put pain on pause. It's sleepy time. Say goodbye to discomfort. Diminish imbalance. Kick back, relax. That's the CBD one.
yeah, I kind of took
Marco,
a
are there
screenshot of
terpenes
this.
in those products?
No, not in the
No,
Solomons.
just cannabinoids. Okay.
Yep. There are orange oil and peppermint oil for flavor. I believe that's the two that we use in combination to flavor. Very mild, so it's not going to be a big minty orange, but just very, very light.
And they're both flavored that way?
Yeah, I think so. Let me. Somehow I hit mute. Yeah, let me find that for you right now. I do have that answer for you. I think it's different combinations of the two, but yeah, they're both orange and peppermint. Any other questions while I look that up? All right, let's see. I'll look for that now. If I don't find it in time, I'll send it to you guys.
Give it to me, yeah. Because that'll be good to know what flavor each of them are, so we can relay that, because most drop solutions or tinctures, aside from ours, are not really aren't flavored. So
yep. Yeah, I'm looking for it here. I got a pile of tincture emails. It's probably a bad search word. It's in there though. Anyway, I'll find it and I'll get it to you.
okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any questions? No? Okay, let me stop recording.